Yesterday, we had a lecture on the Queen's image at Windsor Castle, a debate.
Welcome back to the Jubilee broadcast. My name is Tara and I'm here today with Kaylin.
To start off with, we must tell you all about what went on yesterday. We had a lecture on the Queen's image at Windsor Castle, a debate on the best monarch at Eton College, and the night of the musicals at the Old Court.
Yesterday afternoon, students across Windsor went head-to-head in an intense and competitive debate at Eton College. Each team argued who they believe was the best monarch, and a huge congratulations to Windsor College, who won with their argument with George V. There were more fun topics to argue, such as is cake or fried food better?
Last night, students from the Windsor Upper Schools attended a lecture in the Discovery Centre at Windsor Castle. This talk was hosted by Dr. Alessandro Nacini, Head Curator of Photography. The lecture was rather captivating as we saw a timeline of how portraits of Her Majesty the Queen changed over time and the significance of each portrait. We also gained access to private photos and short videos from the late King George VI's personal camera of the Queen as a toddler.
Last night, students across the Windsor Upper Schools put on a fantastic performance, showcasing their all-time favourite musical theatre songs at the wonderful Old Court in town. From I Can Do Anything Better Than You from Annie Get Your Gun to Popular from Wicked, last night was a remarkable success, and I'm sure that we will find some of those there last night on the West End before we know it. Extremely well done to our youngest performer of the night, Oliver Higton, who is in Year 8 at St Edward's. He performed There Are Giants in the Sky from Into the Woods, and I'm sure everyone watching would agree he gave Daniel Hutterson, who played Jack in the movie, a run for his money. Performing in the week of the Jubilee made last night that bit more special, as we had the chairman of the Platinum Jubilee Committee, Graham Barker, attending, and I'm almost adamant that some singers sung so loud that the Queen would have heard them.
There was also a big sing at Stovall with students from Eton Pawnee, Oakfield and King's House School. They sang the Jubilee song, despite the weather, in true British form. Yesterday, we had an interview with Graham Barker telling us about his plans for the Jubilee.
Good morning, it's my honour to introduce Graham Barker, who is Chair of the Windsor Platinum Jubilee Committee. So our first question is, how did your role come about?
Well, a group of us wanted to do something for this incredible anniversary of Her Majesty the Queen, and we were talking about how we would get together and organise things. And then they asked me to chair it, which I was very, very pleased to do. It was a great honour to be asked to do that. And so it started with a small group of people in Windsor wanting to mark this very special anniversary and also wanting to do something for the community, and it's grown from there.
Oh, lovely. So next question is, what are you most looking forward to over the Jubilee weekend?
Well, I'm looking forward to all the events. They're all going to be fantastic. So, you know, beacon lighting, fireworks. There's this fabulous concert with a UK premiere of Cecilia McDowell on the Friday. There's going to be the cars on the Saturday. But I think above all, what is going to be spectacular is this big lunch on the Sunday, and anybody can come and join us. But all these tables, nearly 3,000 people down the long walk. It's never been done before. It's going to be really, really good fun.
It would be fantastic. I think all the kids growing up there, it would be a lovely experience. So Monday night we had a banquet at Eton. So what were your thoughts on the food? I mean, it was all served by students and made by the students of the Windsor schools.
The food was superb, really, really good, and fantastically served. It was very thoughtfully done. And what was nice was that there was a nice sort of relaxed feeling about it. There was a celebratory mood, and everybody that was involved in that, I think, was excited to be there, was very proud to be there, and the food, as I say, was superbly done, and we all had a wonderful evening.
Lovely. And so we had the boys' choir from Windsor Boys' School performing, and then the upper school choir from Windsor Boys' School and Windsor Girls' School, and they were singing the Jubilee song. So what did you think of that?
Oh, well, that was very moving,
Yeah.
and a superb performance by all those that were singing in the choir. And for a number of people there, it was the first time that they'd heard it. I was lucky enough to have heard it before some recordings, but to hear it sung live at that event was really, really exciting, and I think that's going to be tremendously popular, not just in Windsor, but all over the county, and I hope all over the country.
Yeah, I think it will be stuck in everyone's heads for a couple of months. So what was the highlight of the night for you?
I think, you know, the singing of the Jubilee song, the special school song, was one of the highlights. But just getting everybody there in that very special place in Eton College and celebrating the start of this school's week was just terrific.
Brilliant. And how are you personally celebrating the Jubilee?
Well, I'm going to be joining in as many events as I possibly can, and so I will be in Windsor at I hope nearly all the events that weekend, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Lovely, that's great. Now to our brilliant co-presenters from Trevellyan Middle School.
Good afternoon, world, from Trevellyan Middle School. We are excited to take you on a decade's time travel tour all through Her Majesty's 70-year reign. Since 1952, Her Majesty has presided over endless change in music, industry, technology, as well as fashion. Some of it fantastic, some of it not so fantastic. So, who's better to guide us through this worldwide tour of the decades than Britain's very own James Bond? Live here in the studio, please welcome 007 himself. It's James Bond.
Name's Bond.
And how are you, Mr. Bond?
Old.
And you are here to guide us through every single decade, we are told.
If I must.
Yes, you must. So, let's start out with the 50s. It was in 1952 that Her Majesty first took to the throne. So, what was life like, Mr. Bond?
The 50s were not known for being glam. The war had ended less than 10 years before, and many families were still struggling financially. Bomb damage was still all over the towns and cities. It was not the most sparkling of times.
But there were some achievements, surely.
My dear, yes. Many, many achievements.
And are you going to tell us about them?
No, I'm going to show you them. Let's cut to video.
In the 1950s, tweed was in fashion, but that's not all. We also made some very important scientific discoveries, like DNA.
So, after the 1950s, Mr. Bond, what came next?
The 60s.
True, and the 1960s were different to the 1950s, weren't they?
Indeed, there was a 6 where the 5 used to be.
But that wasn't all, was it, Mr. Bond?
Well, of course not. They were known as the Swing 60s. The Britain became less uptight, more into freedom and partying, and the laws gave us those freedoms. British music erupted across the world. Oh, and the first James Bond film was launched as well.
A more colourful time.
Indeed. Let's take another closer look.
By cutting to video?
If you insist.
In 1966, England won the World Cup for the first time, and it led on to many more successful World Cup wins. Or not. It's going to inject you now. In 1967, there was the first ever successful heart transplant in South Africa. I've got a new heart! I feel alive. Inner peace. Inner peace. My inner peace has been disturbed. After all, the 60s was the age of the hippie. And who could possibly forget the geniuses that were the Beatles? Their music exploded all around the world. Just like that.
Time to go 70s, Mr. Bond?
That makes sense, numerically speaking.
And what made the 70s just so special?
I didn't say the 70s were special.
But could you make them sound special for the camera?
The 70s were really special.
And why is that?
Star Wars?
Anything else?
Flowery shirts.
Shall we cut to video?
Alright.
In the 70s, film went big. We got films such as Jaws. Help, shark! I'll save you. Just let me get to you first. And Star Wars.
And so we come sliding into the 80s.
Computers.
Computers?
Computerised games. Computerised music. The invention of the internet. The world will never be the same.
The electronic era has dawned. Electronic music, video games, and the internet.
And now to the 90s.
Yeah, there was only one big thing that happened in the 90s.
What was that?
Spice Girls.
Nothing else?
Well, a couple of other things. Lace-long jeans were in. Platform shoes made a brief return. Then stopped again.
Let's roll the video.
The stay-at-home era, where people took to the sofa to watch TV. There were a lot of firsts in the 90s though as well. The first British woman in space, Helen Sharma, in the 1990s. And women could become priests for the first time. But most of us just adopted the sofa.
And now the millennium, a time when we celebrated 1,000 years of progress in a giant tent.
That's right, and everyone thought the world was going to end.
And did it?
No.
Let's take a look. Cut to video.
Welcome to the noughties. It's the millennium. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, In 2005, YouTube was first introduced to the world, meaning anyone could post their content, no matter how good or bad it was. Let's take a look. Hi, I'm Oliver. This is my YouTube channel. This is a love message to my darling who I'm not really sure of her name yet, and I don't think she knows mine, but we're in love. Martha's Cooking Show! Welcome back, my loyal followers. Today, we are going to be, sandwiches. So, here is my ingredients, and here is, ignore that, and that's Martha's Cooking Show. Today, we will be attempting yoga for the first time. So, today I played a game of calming, soothing golf. I came second place, and the first place man was a guy called Arthur. And speaking of Arthur, Arthur was actually a king back a while ago, before I was born. Okay, but I want to be an astronaut now, so I just bought a new Ford Toyota in special silver, they call it, and I attached like a bumper sticker to the front that says "Going to the Moon."
And last but not least, the 2010s.
The Olympics.
Yeah, that's about it. And Brexit.
In the 2010s, there were two major events. One, the Olympics, and two, Brexit. Let's talk about the Olympics. Yeah. We're Team GB. And we won the Olympics. What? Come on! Oh, okay. Gymnastics. Horse riding. Boxing. Ice! No, don't hit me, please, no. Swimming. No! Oh, ow! Oh. I win. Diving. One of the most terrifying sports. You might know that in the 2012 Olympics, Team GB won every single gold medal. Every single one there was to win. Whatever you can think of. That's not true. We did.
We are Notice Productions, and that was the Decades.
Happy Jubilee, Your Majesty!
Our stream today. Your presenters were Tara Francis and Caelan Powell, and Amber and Sam from Trevelyan.
Video mixing, audio management and directing were Adrian, Liam and Poppy from Trevelyan and Ollie and Isla from the Windsor Upper Schools. Goodbye.